Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to, this lecture we're going to show you how to install IBM CPLEX solver for linear programs and integer program. And some of them you might want to using for quadratic program as well for certain form. First, we go to the, you can get the CPLEX academia version only allowed for academia teaching and research purposes from IBM license. So here, in order to get the, the solver software, you can go to the tools in this class and you can download the CPLEX for Windows and CPLEX for Mac OS and or Linux down here. Okay, once you install, and then we can, for example, I save it on my desktop right here, so I can start running this, installing the software. So the installation is going to start, and it takes a while to install the software. It's about 15 to 20 minutes or so, depends on your speed of your computer. So I'm going to skip this portion until the installation is complete, and then we continue our instruction in this way. Okay, see you a little bit. Okay, the installation is over, and it wants you have to install the Microsoft Visual C++ 2015 to 2022 redistributable package. You can download it there if you don't have any. And also, post-installation step is going to install the optimization studio for CPLEX interface, and you can either choose to send the data to IBM for user experience or not. And here is the hint for tell you installing engine for your Python environments, and you're going to run this command. We're going to show you how to do that in a second. So this is telling you this is the command you want to run if you want to run Python API, and and this is what we're going to show you today. Okay, so we're done with the installation, and it shows you the installation instruction after you install it. This is really funny. And also it will open the ILOG optimization studio for modeling user interface, and the IBM CPLEX is using a modeling language called OPL modeling language, which we introduce in our undergraduate courses. If we have time, we're going to also introduce in this class as well. It's pretty nice. We've been using for almost 15 years and in our department for undergraduate OR classes. But today's intentions, I want to show you how to install the Python API, and we'll come back to these OPL model later on. Okay. In order to install the Python, we have to use the so-called command prompt for your Python. So here you can go to your Anaconda starter menu and try to run one of those so-called Anaconda prompt for the virtual profile, which is created last time, and here we call it IMSC 780. But before you run it, a very important process you have to run is you need to run this command prompt as an administrator of your computer. so they can install certain library into your Windows program files directory. Therefore, you have to have the administrator privilege. Okay, so this is what we have. So this is a system we're going to run in API. So I enlarge the font so you can see a little bit better. So the first step, we're going to run that run that setup program, come with the CPLEX software. Okay, let's start this. I make a copy of a text file for the installation instruction, and I will upload it to the YouTube videos you see in the description. The first, we're going to run this installation, setup Python installation. I'm going to see if I can copy and paste over. Okay, so basically this file is telling us this to install, run this Python program called setup.py and install the software. So you see there's an error message. Actually, my program files directory contains a space, so therefore I need to using a double quote for that. Okay, so here what we have is, and the installation starts and takes a few minutes to get it installed. A lot of message showing up on the screens. Please pay attention if you see any error message at the end. Otherwise, it should be. And there are two things you can get. Next things we're going to do is we're going to install the do CPLEX library, and you can get the example, all the Jupyter Notebook, which we're going to show you in a bit. Jupyter Notebook examples on this link, and also the documentation associated with the do CPLEX is over here. So this is what we're going to do, installing this. And since we are using the Python 3.9 and the new version of CPLEX 22.1 is compatible with the 3.9. If you're using the CPLEX 20.1 and they are not compatible with the Python 3.9, they have to downgrade into Python 3.8. But nice things about this new version of CPLEX just announced at the end of the July, and we should be able to just directly using the newest Anaconda software to do this. To install these things, I'm going to clean this a little bit. What we do is we'll call the conda install. Okay, basically follow this line of code. Okay, conda install, and using a channel specifically from IBM, it's called IBM Decision Optimization channel, and we're going to install CPLEX library. Okay, it says we're going to install CPLEX 22.1, so it should be okay. Say yes, I'm going to install that. Okay, the work is done. So next step, we're going to test if the software is properly installed in the Anaconda environment. To do this, we're going to go to launch the Jupyter notebook. Okay, for example, for IMSC 780 Jupyter notebook environment. Okay, Jupyter Notebook is launched, and we did that last time. We create a virtual link to the IMSC 780 for 2022 into the places we have. And you notice there is a do CPLEX example master, which I download from the GitHub, from IBM's GitHub website. Go to example, mathematical programming, Jupyter Notebook, tutorials. I'm going to open this linear programming test program. Okay, it takes a while to upload. This is the part 1 of the CPLEX. I use this to test if my CPLEX, do CPLEX package is installed properly. To run this, and has some introduction to the linear program, which I believe you already kind of familiar with it. And until we go down to the code portion, here I'm trying to see if I can import CPLEX. Okay, and next, see if I can install, import the do CPLEX. Either one of them will do. Second step is to set up the predict model. We're going to import the so-called do CPLEX math programming model from the import models, and we call it a name. We call it telephone production is the model name, and the abbreviations is using M as the model index pointer, and then we define the variables, okay, called desk and cell phone, and desktop phone and cell phone, and install the defining the constraint, 4 different constraints, okay, and then finally define the objective function. Okay, so this is my objective function. This is maximization of 12 times variable desk plus 20 times variable cell phone. Okay, and you can using m dot print information, which is abbreviation of the model dot print the model information. So give you a number of variables equals to 2. I'm going to enlarge this a little bit. So number of variable equals to 2. There's a no binary variable, no integer variable, 2 continuous variable, number of constraint equals to 4. All of them are linear, and model objective is maximization. Problem type is LP. Okay, so this is the part we have a graphical representation of this example, and you're welcome to read it. And then finally, you just solve the model using m.solve and print the solution. And once you could be past this part, you know all the CPLEX Python API was successfully installed, and you can continue. They have other example to show the model. What if the model is infeasible, and so on and so forth. And we could have soft constraint instead of a hard constraint. Solve and unbounded solution. This is also very interesting. And we come back to talk about those later on. So you see how this is, and also the degeneracy, which means you have multiple constraints are redundant, most likely, and how the model is showing you the redundant constraint. The model show you here, if you don't have receptors of a result, you just print out the entire solution process. And the most important things you want to identify your CPLEX model is correct. And what I have is the CPLEX model 22.1 is released by March 25th of 2022. And these are the solution procedure and so on and so forth. Okay, and you can also using interior point method. We talked about in problem in actually in lecture module 6. Okay, and these are the things we can later on we're going to introduce you for this. Okay, and this is pretty much summing up this short lectures. I'm trying to do is demonstrate how to install academia version of the CPLEX and then install the so-called Python API under the Anaconda environment for CPLEX 22.1 version. And you're going to need to do this yourself at home and try it before the exam and homework assignment come up. So please make sure you start on the lecture module 6.5 and trying to solve some of the example linear programs. I put it in that lecture. Okay, we see you in 6.5 lecture module. Thank you.